Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sister, and after she had shared with me her confession, we spoke even more. So the message that she sent to me, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I want to confess that there are some rituals that I did against my husband after I had discovered that God had blessed me. And the time when God decided to bless my ex-husband, he was no longer with me. And this gave me great pain because I thought that my husband, he was going to be someone who was to be poor for the rest of his life. But when he came back home once, I then saw that God had indeed blessed him. When I looked at him, he was now a very handsome man when he returned back from South Africa, and I could actually see that he now had a pot belly, that one that comes out when a man is now eating money. And after I had seen him with his young wife and their child, I then said, no, this cannot happen, for this man belongs to me. And I want to blame my relatives, but the person that I really want to blame is my mother, because my mother, she was never supportive of my relationship. When I started to date this man who later became my husband, no one supported me, including my own sisters. It was my sister who went and reported me to my father, and she said that she had seen me in the bushes with this man who later became my husband. When I returned back from seeing my boyfriend, then my father beat me up so bad, and my father told me that he wanted to kick me out. And when I went and when I started to stay with my poor husband, with his poor parents, my mother said that I was no longer her daughter, because she wanted me to get married to a man who was going to be able to take care of me. She said, with all of this beauty that I gave you, but you have chosen to waste this beauty getting married to this man who will never be able to marry you, who won't be able to raise the money so that he can pay for your bride price. What have you done to yourself? When I gave birth to you, when I looked at you as you were growing up, I thought that maybe one day you were going to change the fortunes of this family with your beauty. But since you have chosen to get married to this man who is just a poor man, then I am not going to be your mother anymore. My mom had disowned me at that time when I was married to my husband. But I loved my husband, but I could tell that our lives were not going anywhere. So at that time, that was when I found a job somewhere else, when my husband could not refuse, because at their place, there was no one who could bring in the money. I started working somewhere else, and then I started to date my boss, because he said to me that I cannot resist your beauty. Just give it to me only once, and I'm going to give you money. I gave it to him. He said, you have to give me even more. Each time that I will be sleeping with you, I am going to be paying you. So I kept on sleeping with my boss, and the money that I was getting, I was actually buying some food so that everyone in my husband's family can have a plate of food to eat. I knew that I was the one now who was like the breadwinner. My husband, he was working, but he was earning a salary that was close to nothing. It was just peanuts. And I told my husband that I wanted us to move out. The reason as to why I told him that I wanted us to move out, it was because I wanted us to stay in an area where I was going to be able to control him to do whatever I wanted, because with my beauty, I knew that he was just going to be there with me, even if he was going to find out that I was cheating on him. We then moved out of that area, and my boss told me that he was going to take me to town where he had his other grocery shop. So I started working in that other shop, no longer working in the rural areas, but I was now working in town. I kept on sleeping with my boss until my husband found out about this relationship. And I said to my husband, what will you do to me? Because you are not even a man. You do not have any money at all. So you think that I will just sit here whilst you are sleeping with me on a hungry stomach? think you will never do anything to me, and if you try to beat me, you know that my boss is kids, they are in the army and they will come and they will deal with you. My husband got so scared at that time. He then said, it is fine, let us separate, but most of my dreams, they do come true. So the reason as to why I had chosen to get married to my husband, even though he came from a very poor family, it was because of a dream that I had once had. I saw my husband, he was walking in the forest. Indeed, he was struggling. The path on which he was walking on, the path was filled with thorns. But later on, I saw that he met a man who seemed to be one of his ancestors. This man was holding a bag of gold, and he was given that bag of gold. But it seemed as if when he was given this bag of gold, he was in another country. And at that time, I had never imagined him going to another country. And it seemed as if his destiny was going to be fulfilled when he would have left our country. I wanted to keep him by my side just in case one day if he was going to be rich. And to be honest with you, Brother Nashi, I thought that maybe one day he was going to win the lotto. There were many days when I would actually force him to play the lotto because of the dreams that I had. And I actually even told him to go and join those guys that do the illegal gold mining because of the dreams that I had of him being given a bag that was full of gold by his ancestors. And my husband, when he told me that he wanted us to separate, I got angry, but at the same time, he could not provide a good life for me. And my boss kept on lying to me that he wanted to get married to me. So I chose my boss over my husband. When I broke up with my husband, then my husband, I heard that he had traveled to South Africa. And when he had traveled to South Africa to work, I placed a curse on him so that he can just suffer. I didn't want him to be rich, but at that time, when I placed a curse on him, I was not even serious about it. I had almost forgotten about my ex-husband until this other holiday when he returned back to Zim from South Africa. I just saw him, my brother. He was there with his young wife, and I looked at him and I saw that he was now a man, a very handsome man, and you could actually tell that this man in South Africa, he is eating money. He had this pot belly, you know, that pot belly that just comes out when a man is now enjoying money. When I looked at him, I wanted to cry because this was like the man of my dreams that I had just thrown away. And I didn't know what to do anymore. So when he saw me and when we spoke, he told me that he wanted to give me some money so that I should go and buy the clothes for the kids, our kids that we had together. He then gave me the money and I said, this money, I am going to keep it. At that time, I didn't know what I was going to do with the money. I hid this money from my mom. And then later on, I went and I spoke with this other prophet. After I had spoken with that prophet, the prophet said that, yes, I know that you want me to curse your ex-husband. That I am going to do. But what I am going to request from you, I want you to give me half of the money so that when I am helping you, then I will help you knowing that you have given me something that is meaningful. So we then ended up sharing the money, me and that prophet from the Red Garment Church. This prophet then said, woman, I want you to quickly rush to the shops and I want you to use this money that your husband gave to you. I then went to the shops. You know, there are those Indian shops where they sell the garments. So I went into one of those Indian shops and I had been told by that prophet to buy 4 garments. So one, it was a blue cloth and another one a white and then a red and a yellow cloth. The prophet then told me that we were going to use these garments so that we can tie my ex-husband's destiny. We can lock up his destiny so that he can remain poor. I returned back to that prophet and he told me that I had to take all of those 4 garments and I was supposed to make a knot. So I did, and after I had made a knot and tied those 4 garments together, the prophet then told me that it was done, for I had now locked up my ex-husband's destiny. I then left my brother, but now with time, I just feel that I need to confess to my ex-husband because he is suffering, and I need to confess to him. And for me to confess to him, my condition is that I can only confess to him if he is going to take me back, so that when I release this curse that I placed on him, I will be able to enjoy the money that is going to come to him, because after releasing this curse, he is going to be blessed. And I want to be by his side by the time that he is going to be blessed, because I am his original wife. I don't know if I am right or if I am wrong, but this is my own story, Brother Nashi. Dear listeners, right there was a narration of a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. Strange things do happen in this world. Just imagine your ex-wife. She said that I locked up his destiny and cursed him with the spirit of poverty.